What a coincidence meeting you here! Taking some time off to max and relax?
You're that Shinra paper pusher.
You know it!
So, you're into dancing?
There's nothing more freeing! After years of slaving away for the company, this white-collar worker has finally learned how to let loose and have fun! After I put in for a leave of absence, I bid farewell to Costa del Sol and made my way to this golden paradise of delights. I've been trying out all the attractions to help clear my mind, and before I knew it, I'd somehow racked up more high scores than I could count. Can you believe it? Now everyone's calling me the ultimate party animal. That's certainly not a title I ever imagined earning.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 91 of the video game podcast Between the Joysticks. I'm your host, Nick, and I'm joined by my co-host, John. Now, John, we're only going to bring 3 things today.
Yeah.
So
it's all your fault.
And the one big thing is, it was a little dry, admittedly, and we'll get to that. So I brought a bunch of interesting things to bring at the beginning here.
Okay.
We're going to go through them.
Okay.
Now, it's a little bit of news, there's a little bit of topics. Nothing too. We're not going to talk about anything too crazy here.
You're not going to put the intro on my shoulders again?
No.
Okay,
I
good.
should do that, but not this time. So yeah, we'll go through these things one by one. Spitfire. It's just going to kind of loosen the mouth. You know, get you interested in talking about video games. All right.
Phrasing, but yes.
What's that?
You're trying to loosen my mouth?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to get it ready to take in something meaty.
Sure.
Big meaty topic.
Please start.
All right. First up, a couple of news items involving PlayStation Plus Extra. Dave the Diver, that hotly anticipated game that John and I were very excited about. John played last year, showed up at the State of Play. It is coming to PlayStation Plus Extra April 16th, so we don't have to pay for it.
So good. So good. I mean, those fist pumps and pulling the chains, those were for other people. Those weren't for me. That was for Nick and anybody else who was on the fence for this game. You don't have to think about it, I guess, unless if you're on an extra subscriber. But please play it. Please. You know, if you're not an indie person, there's just so much there for many different types of gamers. So excellent news. Great. I need my spirits risen, Nick, so this is a good start.
All right, good. It's going to come with some extra mini games that weren't in the original game that you played. And then, it's getting that Godzilla DLC in May. So
perfect.
We can all check it out. Again, it was a 90 on OpenCritic. Mm-hmm. So, one of the best indie games of last year.
Yeah, I think it was my third favorite game of the year last year, and that's competing with Tears of the Kingdom and Elden Ring. So
Spider-Man 2
and Neon White. So
Final Fantasy. Yeah, there's a lot of big games last year.
It's good. It's a good one.
Okay. And then continuing on that, Tales of Kenzira Zao is also coming to PlayStation Plus Extra on April 23rd. This is the Metroidvania from the guy who voiced Bayek in Assassin's Creed Origins.
Oh, I did not know that.
We saw it at the Game Awards for the very first time.
It was the dude with the African garb and was kind of had that heartfelt story about his dad or something, right?
Correct, yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so another game, that we don't have to pay for, and just
that one, and that one is one of those for me because I wasn't probably going to pay for this one. Right. It just it looks good. It's just not going to usurp a lot of the other games that are coming out, but I will absolutely check it out for free. Yeah.
So we got 2 big wins right before all of our subscriptions expire in May and June. Sure. John's expires in May, mine in June. So
and they're kind of throwing a little wrench in my very adamant I'm not going to resubscribe, but it's like, well, you do shit like this, so it's kind of nice. When they first did it with Stray was the first one, right?
That's when it launched the service.
PlayStation kind of has a history of doing a lot of those little kind of things, just one-off, or they don't really stick with it. I think back of, and this is a while ago, but do you remember, Nick, when they were starting PS Plus games and they actually had people vote on the games that they wanted?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah,
that.
so I think Grow Home was the game that won, this is back in like 2015. But I thought it was gonna be like cool, like they're gonna let us start to kind of pick these, and nope, that was just they did that one time and that was it. So it's nice to see them continue a strong cadence with this, with Chia. There's another one I can't.
Humanity,
that was another one. Yeah, so a lot of pretty solid games that they're bringing here. So
Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
So
good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Next news item: Star Wars Outlaws. That one of my most anticipated games coming from Ubisoft and Massive. It is getting a story trailer April 9th at 9 a.m. Pacific. So by the time you listen to this, it is probably out. Yeah, I'm excited.
So they had do you see the poster for it? They showed off a poster
Yeah,
there. It looks kind of budget.
Yeah, it's a little generic.
The game doesn't look budget. Poster looks budget.
It's made in the typical style of, Star Wars A New Hope and all their movies, but this one it's okay. It's got Jabba the Hutt on it, so we know he'll be a character in the game.
They're really positioning that little goofy looking alien guy as like, he's right next to the main character. Like his head's
that's your companion.
No, for sure, yeah, but like they're really pushing him to be, big piece of it. The Baby Yoda, the BD. Yeah, they Star Wars knows how to make cute little sidekicks.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a story trailer. Who knows if we'll get a release date, but it's exciting nonetheless. I don't know what's so special about tomorrow, but
Yeah, you think you just wait a month? You just wait a month.
Yeah. But also speaking of Ubisoft, we're getting kind of the E3, quote unquote E3, not E3 season kind of fleshed out, with Ubisoft Forward coming June 10th, and we hope to see again Star Wars Outlaws there. I would assume we get a release date there, as well as Assassin's Creed Red, which is the feudal Japan Assassin's Creed game that we've wanted for so long and have not gotten.
Way to miss the boat, idiots!
Is there any other Ubisoft titles you'd be excited to see?
Excited might not be the right word because I am me, but I am curious what the future of the Division is. We got has Heartland ever been confirmed, or was it just a leak that we all kind of ran with?
I think it was announced as part of a shareholder meeting.
Okay. So Division Heartland, which is supposed to be kind of a free-to-play version of the Division, inherently that makes me go, ugh, but at the same time, I kind of view the Division as being an IP that could thrive on a free-to-play model. So to just kind of see what's that going to be, because quite honestly, like, I loved the first Division. The second Division is a better game. I know. It is the second one is, I think, regarded as a better game, but there's just something about the first one to me that was really fun. So I'd be interested to see what's up with that. But Massive did just go, so it probably wouldn't be the Massive team. They worked on Avatar, right? No, Outlaws. They're doing Outlaws.
Yep.
But other than that, no, not really. Ubisoft is Far Cry is going to be Far Cry.
Is it time for another Far Cry game?
No, I mean you might get. So they've been.
The rumors are Splinter Cell's coming back.
Yeah, I saw that rumor. Never been a Splinter Cell guy. I don't really like stealth, but Far Cry does have a history of doing big release, interstitial. Right? They had New Dawn and Primal were the last two. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something maybe this year get announced for that, utilize the assets and the locations and things that they built with 6, and then kind of go from there. So, but no, not a.
I think there's DLC coming for Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora 2, so that'll probably be shown there.
Well, yeah, I mean they probably sold a $140 edition of that game, so they have to they have to release something.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
So kind of, and then continuing on that, the E3, not E3, we got this little 4-day window that's kind of heating up. We have Summer Game Fest coming Friday, June 7th, and do a rumored Xbox showcase June 9th on Sunday, and now we have Ubisoft Forward June 10th. That's a little fun little weekend we got going.
Yeah, it seems like the companies decided they were all going to curb stomp E3 at the same time and then hold a conference on its corpse. Yeah, is kind of how it feels. Like where they're like, yeah, E3's dead, but we're just gonna do it anyway. Sorry. Yeah. It's kind of how it feels. So yeah, it's still nice that there seems to be kind of a week or a couple days at least lining up to really push, and then you'll get Keeley's Game Fest, Summer Game Fest thing that it was 2 years ago that they made it like 3 months long, right? And that sucked. And then last year they condensed it. Okay, good. So hopefully be a little more condensed. And we'll see what the second half of the year has.
Yeah. That's really the big question is like, what are we playing past May here? So
yeah, I mean, future releases of this year that we have dates for, what? Stellar Blade, Hellblade,
Black Myth Wukong,
Warhammer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a lot.
No.
Not a lot. So need it.
All right. Now this one will get John very excited. Is Hollow Knight Silksong coming out?
Yes.
It's getting ESRB rated and it has an Xbox store page. Could this rumored Xbox showcase finally have Silksong in it with a release date?
I feel it in my loins.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Ooh,
I know
prediction.
you have a very, very big chip on your shoulder with this game. Understandably, right? You've 2 times
What?
in the league.
Oh yeah, picked it.
2 or 3.
Probably, I think 3 times.
3 times, yeah. Nick picked this game as like a high pick, right?
2021,
It's going to come out, going to be a 90, and he's gotten burned 3 times. So Nick doesn't think this game's ever coming out, but I think it is.
I jokingly say that.
For sure. He's not that dumb. I hope you guys know how Nick does know a thing or two about video games at this point, but
I hope you think so.
I think it is. It's time. It's past time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be, and I'll be there day one for that one. Easy.
Yeah, I think that subreddit
day
has
one.
threatened to close that subreddit multiple times because there's been no updates on.
Yeah,
so.
and that is kind of the thing. It's like Team Cherry. It's 3 dudes. They runaway success with the first one. They want to make sure the second one is up to snuff. I get it. Updates would be nice though.
Right.
Like I've always wondered why teams don't just be like, "Hey guys, like we're still here."
Right.
6 months you'll get something, but I don't know. I digress.
All right. This upcoming Friday is the release of the Fallout television show coming to Amazon Prime. We've talked about it before, but let's get a final temperature check from you, John. Are you going to watch it?
If it reviews well.
If it reviews well. Ooh.
Listen. I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I think the trailers have proved that it's already going to be better than I thought it was going to be.
I think we should give it the Twisted Metal treatment. We'll give the first episode a shot. And
sure.
If we're not feeling it from there, because we can talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
So
the tone of it is going to be huge for me. Listeners know I am not the biggest Marvel fan, and I can just see that Marvel everything's a joke humor coming.
Oh, I mean, going back to our problem with Twisted Metal.
Yeah, so like that's why I'm a little cautious about it. If they can somehow nail a darker vibe, because let's be real, it's the world has ended. Like, yeah, we can be silly and there could be ghosts and funny moments, but like it's still, the world's ended.
Right.
So they have to incorporate that in some way. But the trailers have. Definitely pre-trailers and post-trailers, my interest has risen for sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I want to watch at least the first episode, so hopefully we can bring it.
I mean, I'm watching. Just Googled it here, and it says the first previews are glowing. So that's good. That's from
radioactive.
That's from yeah. I'm surprised I didn't use that. That's from Forbes, so it's not like some influencer or something. So we'll see. But
okay. All right. Moving on, Helldivers 2. They have defeated the automatons. Myself have defeated the automatons.
You did it?
Yeah, I helped out. I've gone down to the planets. I've
your
done,
part.
Yeah, I did my part. I'm doing my part. John is not doing his part. John hates democracy. He hates freedom. So, he's been sitting it out.
I love Putin.
So right now in the game, there's only one faction left. So... and interesting enough, this upcoming Thursday, the new War Bond will be coming out, and I have a feeling this weekend will be the biggest weekend for Helldivers yet that we've ever seen. It's kind of cooled off since it came out and then the mechs came out, but I think you throw in a new enemy type, that game is going to blow up.
Yeah,
the whole weekend will be Helldivers. 500,000 concurrents again.
Yeah, well, because let's be honest, Helldivers is a pretty simplistic game. Mm-hmm. What's the main difference? Are you fighting bugs or are you fighting robots?
Right.
Throw in another one. That's about as big of a content update as you can get.
Right. So,
and are people thinking it's the Illuminate? Like just because that's the one faction from the first game, which what's more like an alien humanoid race that uses like lasers and snipers and things like that.
Right, and cloaking and all that. Yeah,
bunch of tricky fucks.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting because I imagine they're not going to sit on one faction for very long.
No. It's what you said. The map got moved around too, right? Like how they used to the factions were.
I didn't notice that. Someone
okay.
who we play with that was the one who said that.
Because like they used to be on the sides and then like moved them
Yeah,
up,
they made some room on the bottom
Yeah.
for like an extra faction there. So I'm assuming by this weekend, Super Earth will be invaded and it'll be this all hands on deck situation that will just drive the player base bonkers.
22 minutes ago, they're not all dead. Thousands of Helldivers 2 players are still fighting robots, including me. This game is ridiculous.
So yeah, that's exciting. I imagine that this will be a big topic going into this weekend. So we'll see. All right, next up, we got a fun topic coming up here. Game Informer had its readers vote for the greatest game of all time in a March Madness bracket. Now, we're not going to go over all of them, but I'm going to go over the top 8.
Okay.
And John is going to predict who won each of those brackets till we get to number 1. So, in this case, it'll be 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4.
Okay.
And so on and so forth. And we'll go from there. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
I'm sure you've heard of a couple of these games.
I sure hope so.
The first matchup in their top 8 was The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt
Okay.
versus Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, those are some good games. Those are some top 50 PlayStation Pals games.
Yeah.
Between the joysticks.
Yeah, and those are 2 very similar games too.
Yeah.
Widespread, incredibly dense RPGs. I'm going to say Red Dead took it.
That is correct.
Yes. Never bet against Rockstar.
All right, moving on. We had The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time facing off against Baldur's Gate 3.
Zelda. Baldur's Gate 3 is a beast. But Ocarina of Time, as far as I've been a human alive, right? It came out when I was 8.
Yeah,
it's always been regarded as that's the one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's going to win here too, but we'll,
All right.
I don't know if that's...
You are correct. All right, next matchup. We have The Last of Us facing off against The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oof. Breath of the Wild.
Incorrect. The Last of Us beat it.
It's the right choice.
Okay.
It's the right choice. I'm kind of surprised on that one. That's Zelda, just by name notoriety alone, usually carries it. But
And The Last of Us is kind of a polarizing franchise nowadays. So.
okay. Yeah, that's true.
But no, Last of Us pulled out. And then the next matchup is Elden Ring versus The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Those are 8 really good games.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm going to say Skyrim takes this one just because it's a much more wide-reaching game that had a very, very, very heavy impact on the industry.
That is correct. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim moved on.
3 or 4 is pretty good.
What's that?
So 3 or 4 is pretty good.
Okay, yeah, you're cooking. All right. So that moves up to the final 4 here.
Okay.
We have Red Dead Redemption 2 going up against The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time.
That is correct.
Yes.
All right, and then we have The Last of Us going up against The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
I'm going to go Elder Scrolls again.
That's correct.
Yeah. I don't know why people love the Elder Scrolls games to that level, but they do. They do. They're huge.
That's kind of why Starfield got the scrutiny it did because of how good a Bethesda Softworks game can be. So
Also, where's Link's Past on this list? Where is it?
I don't think it was in the top.
Stupid.
They had the normal 32 bracket or whatever, 64. All right. So that gives us to our final matchup in the Game Informer readers voted greatest game of all time. It's Ocarina of Time versus Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always Zelda. Not a bad. I mean, yeah, you cannot argue with that. That's
No.
It's a hard one because I played it for the first time in like 2018. I'll say.
What?
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I never owned an N64. I mean, I like dabbled in it when I was a kid, but I never beat it. And so I had a 3DS and just decided to pick that up to. It was good, but it was also 21 years old at the time, so I can't put it on that level that most people do. But I imagine if you played this thing in 1998, you were just like, oh my god,
right, yeah, yeah. It was incredible. I rented it from a Blockbuster and beat it by the time I returned it, so I played a lot of it.
Yeah, that tracks for you.
What? All right. And then final question, kind of a quick little topic. We were discussing this a little bit on Friday while we were waiting to see the wonderful Tim Robinson in person. Has Spider-Man 2 been forgotten? It's about to celebrate its 6-month anniversary from its release back in October. 2023, arguably a very stacked year for video games, but it was one of the top 6 Game of the Year nominees. But, and John and I both platinumed it, so that kind of, once that happens, we kind of say goodbye. So, yeah, has Spider-Man 2 been forgotten? Is it just kind of just came and went game? It is selling very well still.
Yeah.
There was a story today that both Helldivers 2 and Spider-Man 2 are selling very well, but Helldivers 2 is, in fact, outselling Spider-Man 2.
Wild. Make that bet before either of those games come out. It's tough to say. I wouldn't say it's forgotten about, but it definitely was a flash in the pan type game. I mean, I think everybody who's going to be getting a PS5 from here on out is probably going to consider buying that game.
Sure.
It is the best Spider-Man experience you can get on video games, in my opinion. That being said, it was a little too similar to the first one, I think, which didn't allow it to land as hard as the first one did, right?
Yeah.
We already experienced swinging through New York. We already experienced that level of detail in that city and the combat and everything like that. So, therefore, you're going to rely a little bit more on the narrative and the characters and that side of it to carry you through. And that's probably, in my opinion, the game's weakest point, right?
Yep.
I thought Kraven was
little bloated.
pretty rough.
Too many people.
Yep, too many people. The impacts don't seem as they don't land as hard as they did in the first one. Miles, in my opinion, isn't utilized as much as he should have been. And so I think it kind of, just did, it came out, you beat it, and you moved on. We were actually talking about my son, who probably beat the first Spider-Man game. And he wanted to do it again. He wanted to get the suits, wanted to do it again. And, he's a kid. Kids change every fucking week, but
Right.
I don't think he's even beaten this one yet. Like, he's just kind of over it.
Right.
So, yeah, I think you could make a larger conversation around sequels and needing to move them forward enough to kind of recapture what the first ones did. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just like, it's just going to be there. It's just going to be on that list of best-selling PS5 games at the end of the console.
Right.
And it's going to be one of the, when you see what are the 25 best games on place, it's going to be there. But it's I don't know. It's just, there's no DLC for it like there was for the first one. So that's part of it.
Yeah, as of right now, but
For sure, but like we've moved past the point, Nick. Like, right? Like,
look at Sony's current strategy. God of War Valhalla, Burning Shores. They've waited quite a while before saying anything about DLC on these.
You're right. You're right. I'm just comparing to the first one though. Like, the DLC was announced when the game came out, and so the DLC then released a month after. If you're going to do any type of DLC, it almost can't be narrative related anymore. You would have to have a Valhalla style thing, and I don't know. And especially if you're gonna spin off this rumored Venom game that was in the Insomniac leak, they're probably just gonna skip all that and just do a Venom game, would be my guess.
That would probably be the best idea. But like I said, I mean, we have the last 2 big games get DLC over a year after the game came out.
Yeah.
So next January there could be a Spider-Man DLC that leads into the rumored.
What was the other example
Spider-Man
you said besides Valhalla?
Burning Shores.
Burning Shores. Okay, so I was gonna say, because Valhalla is inherently a much different experience, but Burning Shores is more of the same. I wonder if they're just like, well, we don't have a way to vary the gameplay up again as like we did. We didn't have an idea like the roguelike God of War for this one, but yeah, I don't know. I think it would be a mistake, honestly, even if they were doing DLC for it.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of
and to be
go to
honest,
Venom and Spider-Man
I
3.
really wish the next. Well, obviously, because as we talked about last week, Marvel's Wolverine is one of my most anticipated games. I really wish that was the next game coming, and then like a Spider-Man Venom, because
Yeah.
I think a little bit of the franchise is getting a little fatigued. 3 games in 5 years.
Yeah, I won't be that excited for Venom if I'm being honest. Like, I'll play it, but I won't be that excited for it, I don't think.
Yeah, the only thing I'd be excited for is hopefully it'd be more focused, like Miles Morales was.
Yeah.
So the story can be better because it's going to be assumably a hairy story.
Yeah.
So that's the
trying
only.
to picture playing as Venom for a whole game.
Well, they'd have to have some kind of story conceit to why he's. Unless it's very linear, but if he's going into the open world, he'd have to have like the swinging and.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I don't know. I mean, he could shoot out his arms far enough. I'm sure they could animate it.
Right.
I'm just more thinking from a large hulking monster of a character to control and fight with. Like, there's a reason that I think video game characters are typically nimble and acrobatic, because anytime you're a Hulk or you're a mech suit, you kind of just go.
Hey, stop hitting the table.
And it gets a little old pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
Not that Insomniac, the kings of weaponry and movesets, they'll figure it out.
And then
but-
just speaking of the bloatedness of Spider-Man 2, again, going back to that, is there's so many story threads left after that game that, including like the big cliffhanger, which I won't go into, but, there's so many characters that need some kind of resolution either in Venom or in Spider-Man 3. And if it's all in Spider-Man 3, like, holy shit, like that's a lot of characters to cover and ground to cover. So I don't know, but we'll see.
Insomniac's going to be living in that Marvel world for the next 15 years?
2030.
Yeah.
I think as far as the leak went. So
I think it's past that. I think.
No, I don't want to get into the games, but
Sure.
But I think it was 2030 was the last game. So, all right, that's it. Do you feel good?
That was good.
That
was
jaw
good.
loosened
That was
up?
good. Yeah, my mouth is ready for you.
All right, so let's move into how the actual show works. The beginning of the show, we kind of bullshit like we just did there, but a little more focused bullshitting on that one.
Focused bullshit. That's a good tagline for our show. Focused bullshit.
But how the show actually works is John and I both bring up to 3 things to talk about. It can be a video game we're playing. I have finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We'll quickly touch on my thoughts on the full experience.
Spoiler heavy, right?
Yeah. It can be a news item. We got a marketing research report from Newzoo that's going to kind of go over kind of a lot of things John and I...
This is why I'm in a down mood.
Yeah, John and I have been saying about live service games and the state of the industry, and we're going to cover a few things from there. And it can be a topic, like our video game character Battle Royale. We have another big upset to talk about later in the show. And
Also, I'm in a bed.
but it also can be an email from you. You can write in, and we'll read it on the show. We promise you, even if it's insanely negative. So you can write us in at betweenthejoysticks@gmail.com. You can comment on one of our YouTube videos at PlayStation Pals on YouTube. Comment on any of our videos there. We'll talk about it. Or it can be a direct message on Twitter at JoysticksPod. Message us there if you have anything to say about the show. So, any of those things, and we'll bring it. All right.
Boom.
So, that topic I was referring to earlier. So, Newzoo, which is a games data research consulting firm, they released their State of the Industry report on April 2nd. It was part of, GDC, the Game Developers Conference, where all the developers get together and kind of a lot of presentations and panels about how games are made. A lot of quote-worthy stuff came out of there, especially about Baldur's Gate 3. That definitely was one of the hot topics, of course. Game of the year. But so this report kind of goes over what they think the state of the industry is. And at first, I want to just kind of like put this in this place. Like we're in 2024, right?
Mm-hmm.
The report covers pre-pandemic, the pandemic, post-pandemic. The pandemic kind of really fucked up the statistics of the video game industry.
Of everything.
Yeah.
But yes, that one especially.
Because we were all stuck inside. So, they're going to cover things like game sales, monthly active users. As you imagine, when we were all stuck inside, that stuff shot incredibly high.
Yeah. Naturally.
And, and speaking of next year, we know next year is going to feature things like the Switch 2 and Grand Theft Auto 6. And do you think that is going to blow up any kind of metrics or predictable data?
A little bit.
It's gonna
move it a little bit.
because a lot of this data is going to be covering over month or quarterly data, year over year, and I just think those are disruptors. The pandemic was a giant disruptor, and so when they are going into kind of taking this data and saying these are trends and this is how things look like, it's like, well, there were some big things that made a big change to these things, and why things are down over 2021. Well, this is because the pandemic's over, and things are returning to normal. People are using disposable income on other things than just video games and consoles. So, So I just wanted to preface that.
It's a big asterisk.
So, but we'll get into it. So let's go over this is their executive summary of their report. PC and console gaming generated $94 billion in 2023. This is a 2.6% growth year over year. 57% of this was on console, 43% on PC. The average quarterly playtime has decreased by 26% since Q1 2021. So, again, 2021, heart of the pandemic.
Yeah.
That kind of trends is a little interesting. And then 90% of new game revenue was captured by just 43 titles.
Don't like that.
You don't like that?
I don't like that.
Why don't you like that?
Oh, because I'm sure like 40% of it was 2 titles. But no, it's just, as you'll get into, one of the biggest takeaways from this report is that Fortnite, Roblox, these juggernaut games their grip is not loosening, and it's just makes the rest of the industry focus on the wrong things, in my opinion. But we'll get there.
No, we can go into it. I mean, a little bit now. I mean, so let's talk about the top 10 games by monthly active user. So how often are people being inside these games? And I mean, is it any surprise?
Full of innuendos today, man. Full of them.
Is it any surprise what the number one game would be
Fortnite.
Across all platforms?
Fortnite.
Yep, Fortnite, and that's really and by platform things move around a little bit. Like on PlayStation, EA Sports, FIFA game sneaks in there. On the Xbox list, Starfield snuck in there.
Yeah.
On Nintendo Switch, 6 Nintendo exclusives are in their top 10.
Yeah.
But when you look at the numbers, the same games keep coming up. The same games that we saw in the Xbox State of Business update, them just repeatedly saying, and that's Rocket League, Roblox, Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto 5, League of Legends, Apex Legends.
Call of Duty.
Yep, Call of Duty. The big staples. It's either a live service game or the annually released games. Madden, FIFA.
Did you say Minecraft? That's in there too.
Yep, Minecraft. And I think that's where John's getting a little salty face.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just, these companies, this is one of my biggest pet peeves in general, but I talk to a lot of people who they kind of think that businesses and companies, whether they're in the video game space or not, owe them something. And they don't owe us shit. All they're supposed to do is make as much money as they can. That's what they do if you're a publicly shared company. And so it makes complete sense that there's all of this resources and money and time and development costs and opportunities going towards these whales, because the data shows us that this is where the money comes from. So if you're going to make money, that's what you're going to chase. It's why PlayStation goes, hey, we want to do 12 live service games. I guarantee they've had discussions in their boardroom saying, we just want one of these. We just need one of them to hit. If one of them hits, we're good. Because another thing that you look at these lists of, the PC market, 9.6 average years on the market. PlayStation, 7.4 years. Xbox, 7.2 years. And Switch, 3.9. The only reason Switch is down is because of those exclusives that Nick named. And that just... It's when you look at data like that, it curbs creativity, it curbs new ideas, fresh ideas, risks, and it promotes the idea that we just need to flood the market with these gotcha mechanics and these microtransactions and these words and buzzwords and things that people who have been looking at the industry for years and years and years are kind of, we're familiar with these, but we're getting sick and tired of talking about them. And there is no sign of any of that slowing down. And it's sad. Makes me sad. Makes me sad that God of War Ragnarok can come out and it's not anywhere on there. Makes me sad that Spider-Man 2, the game we just talked about, is not approaching Fall Guys levels. Like, it's sick. It's gross. But
well, yeah, and it's a lot. It's really the power again of I think just being a popular game with the younger people is who have the most free time, right? John, free time is very precious. He's not going to spend it on Fortnite, but a kid, no income, is going to gravitate to these free-to-play games, the Fortnite, the Roblox.
Just no concept of time.
Right? Or in these games that don't have an ending either. Yeah. There's no end to Minecraft. There's no end to Rocket League or Roblox. Those are infinite playtime games. You're not going to roll credits on any of those games. Yeah. So, I mean, that works in their advantage as well.
Yeah, so. It does, and you've heard me talk about this all the time, but God, that's such a bad selling point for me. It's like, yeah, you can play this forever. It's like, I don't know. I'm becoming that cynical old man where the world's moving past me, and my tastes and likes are not what makes the world go around, and that's okay though. There's still stuff for me, but
it's not all doom and gloom. There were 66 titles accounted for 80% of playtime in 2023. So there's a lot of room for other games. When we get past the top 6, or out of this top 10, I'm sure you would see Spider-Man 2 and more of these traditional video games that me and John gravitate to. Hogwarts Legacy, I'm sure, the best-selling game of last year.
Yeah, it's on the Switch list.
Would fit in this list if they expanded it out. And
I think it's important to note too as well that you said 80% were played by 66 games.
Yeah,
that 20% that's remaining, that's still a huge amount of money and time and players, right? So it's not as dire as it seems. It's just the trajectories make it worse.
I must say, it's weird how they pull these numbers out. So what's the other 20%? Another just this
every other game.
Yeah, every other game. Yeah.
I don't know.
But why stop there? But anyway,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's just some weird
they have Elden Ring in there, but with the top 5 being Diablo 4, Hogwarts Legacy, and this is by monthly active users, so this is just total playtime. So Diablo 4 does have an advantage, again, being a game that does not end. Diablo 4, Hogwarts Legacy, Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, and Starfield were the more traditional games that John and I gravitate to. Though, again, I would argue Diablo 4 is very much a live service game. But
and they say that in here. So if we remove Diablo, then the highest percentage for a non-live service game is Hogwarts at 0.8%.
Yeah.
Which is in Fortnite is at 8.4%. So the biggest, most played game outside of live service is less than a tenth as big as Fortnite.
But like I said, they have an advantage. You play Hogwarts Legacy to a certain completion point.
For sure.
Spider-Man 2 to a certain completion point, and then you're done.
Yep.
And all those games these single-player games did make a lot of money. They did very well. Like Elden Ring made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man 2, sold a lot of copies. Mm-hmm. So these companies are making money. And I'm trying to push back on John's doom and gloom. This is where I'm trying to go from here. That he's gonna be so negative, but again, going back to what game were we just talking about? Marvel Rivals.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you got to try and compete with.
Yeah,
and and they do go into this that established IP is a smart move, right? Like a known IP.
Yeah, it's less risk.
Will do better for you. That's why, again, Diablo 4, Diablo's a known franchise. Hogwarts Legacy, Harry Potter, known franchise, that they can that these games can succeed especially if they can tie to an existing brand.
Yeah.
Which is I don't really need a marketing firm to tell me that, but it's interesting that at least Starfield did something.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah, dude, the more I look through this, I just go, So 90% of new game playing time was spent on 48 titles, with 1,400 accounting for the other 10%. And of those 48 titles, 73% or 25 titles were live service pay-to-play games, 20 titles were premium games, and then, the other 1,400 were just the other ones. It's just like, man, it's got to be so discouraging, like, for these indie developers and people trying to make an impact, and you really got to give it up to the Stardew Valleys and Balatros and these ones that can sneak through and make it disrupt, yeah, but like also does show that you need to have a game of that quality to do it.
Right. That's why I think you see a lot of these. What we talked about at the start of the show, the Dave the Divers, the Tales of Gonzaro's out. Harold Halibut is a day one Game Pass game, because you need that. Just you get that you get guaranteed money, and then you get the big console manufacturers, marketing your game for you. You get a little bit of a spotlight on you now. You get a PlayStation blog post, or a Xbox Newswire post, just all about your game, and that's. Or if you're Sea of Stars, you get it everywhere. Yeah, exactly. So, and again, another success story of last year. So, I don't want to be all doom and gloom because, these games are sucking everyone's playtime out of all the games that John and I would like to see more of. But
and yes, and let me be clear, I am doom and gloom because that's how I am. However, the video game industry is killing it right now. And quality games, last year we saw arguably the greatest year of video games ever from a critical reception. Nick's arguing this year, and I'm as much as shit as I give him, he's not far off, and next year's looking to be the same way. So there's plenty for us to play. There will always be plenty for us to play. It's not that. It's just that, I don't know, people be stupid, bro. Just like, it's just upsetting. It's just upsetting that I see it with my son, right? And he plays great games like Neon White and Spider-Man, but like I can't, like I almost urge you to go watch an hour's worth of Roblox and just see the brain rot that shit is. No. And I could easily just be like, no, Levi, you're not doing it, because that's what parents can do. But I let him engage with it a little bit, but it's just mind numbing to me that I have Super Mario Wonder and I have Roblox, and he will gravitate to Roblox 100 out of 100 times just because it just does this perfect thing for kids. Right. So, and it's social media friendly, and all the streamers play it. All the people that they look up to for for these games. It was Minecraft at one point. Yeah. I've been working on my son, trying to tell him that all humans are worthless, and there's no reason to follow anybody. But don't just kill him. Kidding. He's got hope. He does have hope. So. But no, I mean, for the rest of the report, one thing I did like that I saw is it was up in the executive bullet points. Let me get back to it so I say it exactly. So the competition is fierce, but opportunities do exist segment, with where it did say 90% of new game revenue was captured by 43 titles. But there is a bullet point there where it says player growth is in emerging markets is more promising than in established ones. And I wanted to pull that out specifically because I want to say PlayStation has been doing a very good job with their hero projects, which is the China initiative, the India initiative, and I believe they're doing an Africa initiative as well, to try and just bring more developers, more just marketing and things into these areas of the world that don't have access to this stuff, that don't have the income, that maybe, they just don't have the opportunities. And I think that that's a very smart move from Sony to tap into those markets, get your name being the one out there so that when, if these economies ever turn around, or if things, whatever the case, even if it's a 50-year plan, they're going to think, oh, video games, PlayStation. That's who does video games, because they came in and they basically brought it to us. So I just wanted to kind of give a special shout out to that one there. We just saw on the blog post a couple months ago of the India project games that they were working on. So and there was just that news item about Sony producing physical games in Latin America now, like physically making discs there.
for that region of the world. And that's again probably to what you're saying. They see growth there. They see new users there. You got to get the games to them.
Yeah, I mean, because we always hear all this, in the United States, the amount of people who are going to get a console, we've reached a peak or whatever, and that might or might not be true. Anecdotally, I don't think video games are slow. Like that's why these reports are kind of funny, with the points you're making about like it seems like playing time has decreased 26%. It's like get the fuck out of here. I live in the real world. I talk to my friends. I talk to people. I listen to podcasts. It's fine. I don't remember where I was going with this, but yeah, it's not as bad. It's just yeah.
You just don't want to see that data in your face.
No, exactly, exactly. But
but like you said, the games that we want to play are constantly coming. We're Stellar Blades, Dave the Diver, Star Wars Outlaws, the games we're talking about today, and over the last few weeks, they're here and.
You're here.
Yeah,
you just got Rebirth done, which was probably, I'm not going to speak for you, but probably one of the top 20 gaming experiences you've had this decade, this century or whatever, probably. It was probably up there for you, right? So
right. Definitely this generation, it would be much harder to determine,
No, past 17 years.
So, but yeah, that's all I really have to say. Again, when John and I are talking about like live service games and what they have to compete against, there it is. Yeah. There's the data.
We'll leave you on this quote that I hated. The goal for game makers will be to capture and hold player interest while also converting players to payers at scale. I just hate that. I hate that kind of talk. Converting players to payers.
That's the free to play thing. Gotta get those whales and but
dumb.
Helldivers did it. Arrowhead did it. So
fuck, it sold more than Spider-Man 2. I can't. I think it was specifically in the UK, at least what I saw.
Yeah, it was UK.
But
it was UK.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Pretty wild. All right. Moving on to our next topic. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Obviously, this won't be the last we hear of it, because as I have now completed it, I have passed it on to John.
Here comes little brother.
It has passed it on to John. I'm so excited for him. I really hope it strikes a chord with him, which I think it will. John, is a big Final Fantasy X fan, and I think this game will capture that same magic he felt then. Because you tried 15?
Yeah, didn't beat it.
Yeah, and I mean you played 16, but like 16 is not a traditional Final Fantasy game, and that's
I mean the last one that I would say is traditional is 12 that I liked.
Okay, so it's been a minute.
Yes, but I mean a remake. I don't
right.
I don't know how to quantify that one, classify that one.
And then so just my review is the same as it was before. I think I said 5 out of 5, but now that we're 10, 10 out of 10. This is gourmet gaming. Just fantastic characters, great story, that adventure that is a Final Fantasy game that was missing from 16, which I haven't felt in a very long time. That is here. This is why this franchise is as premier as it is because it's about great characters, great story, going on a great adventure, trying to save the world and being silly along the way, like not taking itself too seriously. And that has that here. And then just finally the combat itself, like the depth there you get with when you start unlocking more and more abilities, you're getting more and more materia, more and more equipment. You can just fine tune your characters to the way you want to play, and that those characters themselves play very, very different. Like Yuffie can summon a doppelganger of herself and change the elemental damage of her weapon because she's a ninja and she uses ninjutsu to do that. Kate Sith, which is this cat riding this bear-like creature, he can summon Kate Sith and then get off of him, and they fight separately. They're two separate characters.
Wait, so which one's named Kate Sith then? Is it the cat or is it the bear?
It's the cat.
Okay. What's the bear's name?
The giant bear is just like a big fat Moogle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And just the breadth of things to do. Like, this game will keep your attention forever. And 2 points here. Friend of the show, Nick, is still playing the game. I beat the game at 80 hours. He's over at 130, still playing the game, and still trying to unlock everything in 100%, the world itself. Like, that's the amount of content in this game if you so seek it. And And going back to the combat, watching him play, he plays it 100% differently than I do. Like, he plays it much more like an action game. He's Cloud 90% of the time. He juggles characters all the time. So he's like flying in the air. He's never touching the ground. And I was just like, this is 100% differently than how I approach the game.
That's interesting. That answers the question I was going to ask you, because Remake was like that for me, where I didn't want to be anybody but Cloud ever, just because I didn't feel like balancing it in my head.
Sure.
So you are bouncing all over to all the characters, and Nick stays
right.
Cloud, okay.
So they introduced the synergy attacks in this one, which as each of your characters are using ability, they are filling a separate meter, in which once they, like, two characters get, use 5 abilities, then they can attack a synergy, and these are like very powerful moves that have different effects. They can unlock unlimited magic. You can segment your ability bar to 3 segments now, so they fill quicker, or just do moves that do a lot of damage and stuff like that. And so I tend to go into building those up.
Sure.
So I'm switching characters, so because the active character you are builds, you
faster.
can use abilities faster.
Yep.
So
Yep. Okay.
So that's the kind of way I played it, and then watching him play it, and it's just like, wow, he's completely different.
Yeah.
And and that's the kind of depth of combat that you can find in this game, and it's awesome. And then just all the mini games. Queen's Blood is insane. I didn't even do all the Queen's Blood content. Like, I saw the Queen Blood's quest, the storyline could finish, but I didn't do all the challenges and unlock all the cards. This game has Chocobo racing in it, which is just a built-in Mario Kart. It has just so many fun games. It has soccer built into it. It's just incredible. It is a Final Fantasy game to a T, and it is there for people that have played the previous game and expands on those characters that you loved. The writing is great. The dialogue is great. It's much better than it ever was in the original translation. And then it's still there for players like John, who are going to come into this game and not know the significance of the cities, Junon, Costa del Sol, the Golden Saucer, but they'll hook them. I guarantee it. Okay. You'll go to these places and you'll be like, wow, this is another crazy, beautiful city that's just full of life. Okay. So.
You remember I said I hate cities, right?
Why?
I'm just being a jerk. Okay, so with obviously being, and if you can't answer this due to spoilers, that's fine. The first game, towards the end, definitely goes in a different path than the original did. Did you feel that this is continuing that trajectory, or this is more kind of, I don't know, playing it safe, playing it by the numbers, and we're not going to get as different of an experience as we kind of maybe thought we were going to get?
That is correct.
Okay.
So at the end of the first game left it open that the events of the game would not happen the same they would before. That's as simple as possible. Even with that fact, the second game is pretty much mainly going on the same course. There are differences. There are definitely big differences, but for the most part, it stays the course. So,
okay,
characters show up where they normally show up earlier than they would be. That's kind of the big thing. But
do you feel that they've done a decent job of like splitting the original Final Fantasy VII into 3 chunks, or like, because the first one is only the first 10 hours of the game, right? Like, it's
like the first 6 hours made
right,
into a 30-hour game.
And so, from what it seems like you're telling me, and with what I've read, this is a big portion of the first game.
It is.
Okay, so it's probably more like a 15%, 50%.
Yeah,
25%.
As far as like cities,
that probably doesn't add to 100.
As far as cities you don't go to in this,
you're going to all the places.
You're going to the majority of the places, and like I said, the most memorable, like the Golden Saucer, like that's a huge deal. But yeah, it's a wild ride. It's a very long game, So like I said, I have 80 hours to do most of the side content. I could not complete one side quest.
I get it. Sorry, I mean, like, you did not complete even one.
I completed all but one side quest.
Yeah.
There's this like proto relic quest, as they call it, that leads to kind of the end game quest. I didn't see the end of that because I didn't want to stomach the difficulty of those battles.
Yeah, I get that.
And so I'll just, like I said, friend of the show Nick is doing it, so I'll just watch him stream it and see the cutscenes play out there. So
I got a small challenge for you, and if you can't do it, that's fine.
Okay.
Do you think you can break this game down into a pie? so that we can see like how close it is to like what do you think the pie breakdown of Final Fantasy Rebirth would be?
Oh boy, music is high on there for sure.
well,
the soundtrack's amazing.
Okay,
it is unreal what they did with the soundtrack.
So I'm gonna put 20. I'm gonna start with 25 there. We can modify it.
Story and characters is up there.
Okay.
That'll definitely be more than 25. That's probably looking at. I forget what the trophies is 0 because you have to beat the game on hard. Fuck that.
Yep.
So what do we got? We got music, we got characters, we got gameplay.
And graphics.
Oh, it is a very pretty game, but I'd probably put that at the lowest.
So like 10?
Yeah, like 10.
Okay.
So you're looking at story the highest, into gameplay, into music.
So right now you have 40 for narrative and characters, 25 for music and audio, 25 for gameplay, 10 for graphics. That sound about right?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music's probably higher than normally it would be. I'd probably like maybe get 5% more to the gameplay, but I mean, the soundtrack has to be like over 200 tracks. It's wild, and they're all just remixes of the classic songs and just some new ones that are just incredibly goofy.
It was kind of annoying when you and Nick got this game because you guys would come to work and be like, "Dude, the music," and I'd be like, "I don't know. Like, just tell me about the game, though." You'd be like, "No, the music, dude. There's a track for when you're fighting just one guy and you're a dog or something." It's like, that's really okay. It must be very impactful music.
It's just again adds to that, like the game not taking itself so seriously,
Yeah.
and again that sense of adventure that like comes with like, I'm just doing this side quest and be like, what is this song I'm hearing?
Yeah, and just really it showcases how they left no stones unturned.
No.
And how they really took it to heart that they wanted to produce the best.
Yeah, the
So,
attention,
I get
the
it.
attention to detail
I get it.
is all over this game. It's just, you can, like I said, you're gonna start in this opening town of Calm, and you can just spend time looking around and just seeing the people doing things.
Yeah.
And the detail on the buildings and the shops that you don't even get to go into, let alone the shops that you get to go into, and it just overall leads to a great experience. This could be called Final Fantasy 17, and I'd be all right with that.
Sure.
You know, that's just the level of care and production value that is put into this game. And holy fuck, how excited I am going to be for whatever they announce the third game. That'll be huge.
Okay, so remake, rebirth, revengeance?
Yeah, Revengeance.
Sorry, I just almost made a really bad joke.
It's going to be something, and it could be anything.
Yeah. Sorry, I just derailed my brain. You'll be proud of me that I didn't say what I was going to say.
Okay. Yeah, no, again, the game's not going anywhere, as John is going to start talking about it, and maybe
Get ready for a year's worth of Final Fantasy talk, everybody.
And maybe we'll get into like some light spoilers of the early game as John experiences it. And
I think this game is going to need 1 or 2 days that I can call off work and just play for like 8 hours. Like, it's going to be rough if I have to go home every night and play for an hour to an hour and a half and like do that for 80 days.
Sure.
So hopefully I can get one of those.
Like I said, especially like when you start really getting into it, and like I said, I think that's when you reach June on, and from there on, you'll be like, oh my god, I want to play this.
Oh my god.
But I'm curious, as like there is a heavy reliance on Queen's Blood. We'll see if that hooks you.
Sure.
And other things like that. But
Gwent didn't, but I've Blitzball I was addicted to, and I know it's not a card game. But every once in a while, mini games can get me.
Yeah,
Every once in a while.
We'll see which ones you gravitate to and which ones you like. But we'll put a pin in it for now. But
right.
just a wonderful
10
game.
10 out of 10.
Yeah,
Certified gourmet. I think you said that.
Yeah.
Certified gourmet.
And just like I said, I don't know what could come out this year to take it down. We'll see. Star Wars Outlaws is probably the closest, but that would be
probably something unannounced. Like,
yeah,
that would have a chance. Like,
right.
I'm hoping for you, Outlaws is great, but it's not going to beat this. Like, come on,
I'm really loving Star Wars right now.
I know, but it's Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Like, you think Ubisoft is going to be able to put together something like they just put together? Come on.
I mean, again, its first reveal, great. We'll find out by the time you're listening to this.
True.
Could be even greater if the story, has some decent hooks in it. But yeah, wonderful, just
Very
wonderful.
nice.
What a great year. And so now that I'm leaving Rebirth, it's time to focus on
Neon
Hi-Fi Rush.
Neon White?
No, Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush, good.
I want to get High Fire Rush done this week so I can go into Dave the Diver next week. And then I'm going to tease
Pretty good.
a topic for next week that will cover the future. So
right.
we'll get into that at the end of the show. All right.
Let's get into the thing so everybody knows that they're dead to me.
Right. So our video game character battle royale. We're continuing on round 3. Let's talk about the winners of last week. The first matchup. Solid Snake versus Link. Solid Snake
I'm fine
takes
with
the
that.
victory. Yes, I'm
fine.
very happy with that.
Yeah, that's fine. I can agree with that. That's fine. What about the next one, Nick? What happened?
Well, that leaves us with one Nintendo character left, Fox McCloud.
Okay.
But we're talking about Crash Bandicoot versus Kratos, and going into it, I mentioned how Crash Bandicoot had taken down titans of the industry, Master Chief, Nathan Drake. Could he do it? Could he take the God of War Kratos down? And our voters let us know that yes, in fact, Crash Bandicoot has defeated Kratos. We have an upset, baby.
If I
Number 16 beating a number 1.
regarding this whole thing as a sham. Well done, everybody. This whole thing's a sham.
That's what I'm saying. I think maybe they're just doing it to get to you.
I'm more mad that you picked him based on his previous results and it worked. Stupid. Crash should have lost in the first round.
I
just don't
don't
get it.
worry. Don't worry. I have a feeling you're gonna do better next round. Today's
That's
battle.
fine. I'm not fighting this round. I'm not doing
Okay.
it. I'm
All
done.
right. Yeah. Just doesn't matter.
No, doesn't matter.
All right. Well, we'll try to have fun anyway.
If it wasn't 2B.
All right. So yes, today's matchups are Cal Kestis from the Jedi series versus Zagreus from Hades. And if you want John to get really mad, if Zagreus loses, I don't think I'll have a show anymore. He won't
Zagreus,
be on it.
listen. You're going against a Jedi. At least you could win. He could theoretically win that fight. The God of War versus a rodent doesn't make sense. So no.
Yeah, if you voted for Crash Bandicoot, please write in.
Yeah,
Even
write
if
in,
you're just like it was
explain
a
yourself.
joke. It was a joke vote, but and then we have Ellie versus 2B. Now, if this is a repeat and you lose 2B and Zagreus, I won't have a show.
No, I mean, it's a little bit softened in the fact that Ellie is also my girl, so I'm good there. But, no, it just will also be another thing that doesn't make sense, but we'll save the fighting for the fighting.
Okay. All right. So, you lost last week. Who do you want to start with this week?
Let's do 2B and Ellie.
Okay. Do you want me to kick things off?
Well, it's a back and forth, so yeah, go for it if you want. I think I thought I was getting cocky with my Kratos, just I went with it. But so yeah, why don't you start this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup, but I'm gonna go my first. What I want to open with 2B is that she doesn't fight humans. She fights with humans. She's there to help them. She's there to help them free their planet from the robots. John could specifically probably know more about that.
They're just robots.
Okay.
Yeah. Machines.
And so, she's there with Ellie. We love Ellie. Everyone loves Ellie.
Everyone loves Ellie.
She's adorable.
Well, Abby doesn't love Ellie.
She's adorable. So I'm going to start out with 2B doesn't want to do this. She doesn't want to do this fight because, she's there to protect humans. It's against her greater programming to harm a human, and especially a human like Ellie, who is very charismatic, she draws people to her.
Yep.
The wonderful Dina could not keep her hands off Ellie. She was attracted to just that energy that Ellie brings.
You are correct. Ellie is fantastic in many, many ways, but while 2B could be ultimately might not be programmed to fight humans, she is in essence a machine and could be reprogrammed. So I don't think that's a viable defense to getting out of the fight, at least. I don't think she's going to just sit there and take punch after
I'm not saying
punch.
she's getting out of the fight. I just think she's not into it as much.
That's fair.
It's not like it's a robot she's fighting. It's not, I don't think we've had. It's not like a Mega Man.
No, but she also does fight other androids in the Nier Automata universe, which are that's not who she's supposed to fight as well.
Right.
So there are examples of her stepping outside of her.
So I'm not familiar with the game. And does she fight a human at any point?
Humans are dead. There are no humans.
There's humans. Who are you talking to in the villages?
Those are
That
other,
camp.
those are other robots and other androids.
They're all androids? Everyone's an android.
So the story of Nier Automata.
Oh boy, here we go.
The entire 11,000 year story. No, so basically, Cliff Notes is it is believed that humans escaped Earth because the robots came down and was killing them all, and they went to the moon. So the idea was that they're on the moon waiting to come down until Earth is safe again. So the androids have been deployed to rid the world of robots.
So that opening camp you go to in that game, after the opening section where you fight the giant robot, and
Robots.
you're kind of given that kind of like open world, semi-open world section, and you go to that camp where you kind of
Androids.
They're all androids.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, I learned something.
Yep. So in that universe, there are no humans. So hard to really kind of, rationalize that there. But I think she'd be able to overcome that. Might give her a little pause initially. However, luckily for her, she is a hyper-powered, very, very well-equipped killing machine that could take a couple blows from Ellie until she figures out, oh, she wants to kill me. I guess I better probably do something about it. So you're right. Ellie is definitely a force of nature. She's the type of person that, when she puts her mind to something, she's going to do it, right? I get that. She wants to get revenge for Joel. Spoilers. Maybe, I don't, well, I think everybody listening to this show at this point knows. And she'll do what she can, but she's never faced a android that is able to dodge at a blink's notice, that's able to carry around a mobile turret that also shoots laser beams out of its backpack, that has an extended katana and all sorts of different ways to attack her.
Tell that to Kratos.
Yeah, and that's I now don't know what to believe anymore. So I can sit here and I can say, like,
make your best argument.
No, I know. Yes, I know. I just so disappointed in my friends, but and that's not to even get I don't think we need to approach this that she can effectively just download her consciousness into new bodies. We don't need to talk about that in the terms of a fight, because she's not going to use the black box technique against Ellie, because it's not going to get to that point. But 2B is just going back to what I thought was a viable argument with Kratos. She's faster, she's stronger, she has more health, she's able to take more damage, she has a larger weaponry. It's just going to come down to that in a one-on-one fight, and she's going to take it because she also can dodge anything. I'm telling you, play Nier Automata, you can dodge anything. You can dodge through things, around things, it doesn't matter. So that's why 2B takes it.
Yeah, Ellie's, she's definitely got her work cut out for her, but someone that uses, she's got explosives, she's got,
because that's what I was going to challenge you with. Like, I'll take your, she doesn't, 2B doesn't want to do this, but how is Ellie going to then capitalize and take advantage of that fact to overcome 2B? I
mean, again, we're in unknown territory. Ellie has never had to fight a android before,
right,
or any kind of robot. So, and she's limited to the arsenal that her universe gave her. So guns and explosive arrows, which she is very good with. Mm-hmm. She's very efficient at killing people in very horrible ways.
Yeah, she can do that.
And like I said, I highlight, explosive arrows and handcrafted bombs and stuff like that. She's very scrappy in that way.
It's too bad she didn't have a chaff grenade or like a EMP grenade.
Yeah. Well, if 2B wins, then maybe that'll come up, but in other matchups. But yeah, just Ellie's a scrappy person. I mean, we can both agree that she is a survivor. She has survived some very horrible things. Mm-hmm. She comes out on top. She's kind of the final girl in that way from horror movies.
Yeah.
So this is just one of those challenges that she can make it through this. She can pull it off. Will it be pretty? Will
Sorry, I just thought of a really good kick. Keep going.
Will Ellie be worse for wear? Be beat to shit? After this fight, of course. But whether it's a switchblade to 2B's throat or whatever she can do to win this match, she'll find a way. Because again, she's a survivor. That's where I'm going to leave it.
That's fair. One last thing that I can't believe I didn't think about until now. Ellie has a sexual preference.
Yeah.
She has a sexual preference with women. 2B is kind of a smoke show. So as much as...
But I'm not familiar with the character. Does the character ever have... I know the fan base is gone for that with 2B, you know.
I'm just saying she's going to be
shipped her
distracted.
and all kinds of stuff.
She will definitely be distracted on that point. And she also might not want to kill 2B in the same way that 2B wouldn't want to kill her. You know, she'd be like, "Oh, it's because she's beautiful. She's so gorgeous. I can't harm that thing." So, you know, there's also a little angle there that 2B can maybe distract her with puts on her nudie costume, or you know, I think there's a way to take off her skirt in the game. I totally don't know how to do that. But yeah, that's another little thing to use.
Okay.
But yes, I have no further arguments. I rest my case, since it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah. Yes. All right. So that, again, these polls will be on our Twitter account at JoysticksPod, or you can always, write in and explain to John your reason.
Yeah,
for
please
your vote,
do,
because he's getting a little mad. So
I want you to show yourself. So even if you don't explain to me, just write in that you voted for Crash, so you can be dead to me. Unless if you're Mark or Jesse.
So you can be very, very mad.
Yeah. That's all right. On a side note, at least Kratos isn't going to win every single tournament we do. Yeah. You know, there's that side note. So, all right. Zag and Cal.
Yep. Zagreus and Cal Kestis. I led off. So where do you want to start this one?
Well, you know, we can just talk about the character that is Zagreus from Hades, of course. He is the son of a god, not to throw the god card out again, but you know, he is the son of Hades, right? So he is of immortal blood, godlike blood, which grants him all the fighting attributes that you could think you possibly could need. But also, let's not forget that on Zagreus' shoulder is pretty much every single god in Mount Olympus as well, right? They want to see him succeed. They want to see him accomplish what he's accomplishing, whether that's escaping Hades or potentially fighting a Jedi. You know, we don't know. They're there on his side. So not only are we fighting the power of Zagreus, who is effectively the god of blood, I do believe is his official title, but pretty much Athena, right? You know, if we're going to equip him with the Athena dash, which lets him dash around and cause damage while deflecting, there's just many, many different ways that we can go to allow him to kind of up his skill set to deal with Cal, right? Cal's obviously going to be using the Force, a lightsaber, things like that. I don't know if any of his weaponry is made out of Beskar. Don't know, but you know, at least he's fast. He can dash. He can equip the different things to deflect. And while he's dashing, he's also invincible. So you know, that's a big win. But I'll start there if you want to kind of go from there.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I knew it was coming. You know, Zagreus is a demigod. He's got the parentage. He's got the weaponry as any roguelike character would have. But you knew I was going to go here first with Cal Kestis, and just what a powerful weapon and versatile weapon, just the Forces. Mm-hmm. The Forces, definitely Cal's ace in the hole. Not only is a mind trick something that Zagreus will not be expecting, but the ability to, you know, if he uses that shield of his that I love so much, you know, the way the Force can grab and push and do things that are unnatural or magical in other worlds, that, you know, is going to give Cal Kestis the upper hand. And I really think Cal's use of the Force will even the playing field, we'll say, against the godlike weaponry and feat and abilities that a powered up Zagreus can be, to make this a much more even footing for both these characters.
All right, so I'm going to rely on you a little bit, because similarly to your knowledge of Nier Automata, which is the better franchise than Star Wars, you know, I don't know a lot about Star Wars, but is it not true that Jedi mind tricks only work on the weak-minded? Is that true? I believe I've heard that.
You've heard that?
I've heard that.
Yes, that is a line that in Return of the Jedi, because you cannot mind trick Jabba the Hutt, because he will not fall for that.
Sure. So, you know, while there is no proof of this, I would like to believe Zagreus is very strong-minded. You know, he's motivated. He's going against his his father, who he knows is very strong. He says, "Fuck you, I'm getting out of Hades," and he does it. He's very focused and he accomplishes it. So I'm not saying Jedi mind tricks won't work. I'm simply saying that they might he might do that thing where
his intelligence level is questionable.
True, because he does seem kind of bro-y, right? He's a pretty boy who can kind of like get all the girls and fight well.
And he's the kind of a guy, as in roguelike fashion, he just keeps running into that wall over and over and over.
Yeah, I'll get out of there.
It's
true. That's true. So, not saying, just trying to sow some seeds of doubt, things like that.
And almost, I think Meg insults his intelligence at some points, or at least
Meg's going to insult
his motivations. Yeah.
You think Meg gives compliments to anybody? Come on.
Meg is the first boss you face in Hades. Great character.
But, so something I haven't mentioned, Zagreus is incredibly well equipped. He's got guns, he's got a shield, he's got a spear, he's got swords, he's got a bow and arrow, all that come with their little twerks is not the right word there, quirks, and things like that. So he's going to be able to kind of adapt and bring the weapon that he needs. Cal's just gonna be looking at those cool eyes and be like, "Whoa, I can't fight that guy. Those eyes are too sweet." I think it just kind of comes down to God versus Jedi user, and
lightsabers. Again, another very useful tool.
Yep.
Kind of one of those.
Force
one of the most iconic weapons in gaming, not just
Force and lightsaber is a deadly duo, man. I mean, it is like physical embodiment of chaos and like just ethereal. Like you do both, and it's pretty good. But I do think just with the entire Mount Olympus on his side, with his skills, his quickness, I think it's easy to say he's faster than Cal. He's probably a little stronger. I think it's a close fight, but Zagreus ekes it out. If I think of kind of their examples of their games, right? Zagreus is constantly in a fucking chaotic room with lasers and things and explosions, and Cal's usually just kind of fighting one-on-one with somebody. So I think Zagreus is going to sneak it out just through sheer.
But again, with the Force also comes spider sense, essentially. The idea of the reason they can deflect shots and stuff like that is they just have this intuition. I would say
that guy. Who's the guy from God of War? He's played by Idris Elba in fucking Thor.
Oh, Heimdall.
Heimdall, yeah, he's like Heimdall.
and do you want Zeus on your side or BD1? I don't know. BD1
for a fight, Zeus. For a cool sidekick, BD. Sure. Zeus is a.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, that's all I got. So we can move on and let the listeners and the Twitter users decide on this one. So let's find out what we're doing next.
All right. So I got mine pulled up here, so we'll do mine first. First combatant, Joker from Persona 5.
All right.
And then second matchup will be Richter Belmont.
Joker and Richter.
All right, let me pull you up here. Oh, you still got Rayman, that's right.
I do.
It's too bad he didn't fight Kratos. I'm never going to let that go. All right, randomizer.
So, I have Sub-Zero, Fox McCloud, Rayman, and Batman left on my roster for round 3.
All right, so going up against Joker will be Batman.
All right.
The man who can prepare for any fight. And then against Richter Belmont.
100% Batman has a mind palace.
Yeah, he does. Yes, he does. And then Richter versus Fox McCloud.
All right.
Which means it'll be Rayman, Sub-Zero, and the other two that I have, Dante and Clive Rossfield. So.
Yep. All right. Cool. All right, that's it.
We got to start working on what we're doing for the Final Four or whatever the or the final Elite 8.
We got Final Four. We got the countdown to episode 100 coming. So
we got a Last of Us 2 thing that we keep leading everybody on with.
Yeah, we're big teases. Yeah. All right. So speaking of teases for the next show. Again, I'm starting Hi-Fi Rush in earnest. Hopefully, Helldivers 2 doesn't have this big event. If it does, I'll be participating in that too.
If it does, but doesn't mean you need to play all weekend.
Oh, But Hi-Fi Rush comes out. I got that. I have Dave the Diver next week, and then I have to finish Infinite Wealth. But I want to talk about our backlogs. And so a topic for next week, and I want listeners to write in as well, is I want you to bring 5 games in your backlog, and then we're going to rank which games you should play first. So I will rank John's list, John will rank my list, and then if listeners write in, we'll rank your list. So
love it. I need people to tell me what to do in every aspect of my life, so it'll work. Unfortunately for me, I'll be having Rebirth, but
yeah, I know, but I
needed this 2 months ago, Nick.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, you're going to be busy with that, and then your Stellar Blade, I'm assuming, will be your next game too. So this won't be as much for John, but yeah,
love it.
All right,
word.
You got any teases?
I mean, I'm going to be playing Rebirth, hopefully. My whole thing is this last month or two, I've just been so devoid of wanting to play anything. It's the worst. I don't know if people out there have gone through that, but so I'm hoping Rebirth kind of rekindles it and gets me thinking there, because I've been literally, if you looked at my cross media bars on both my PlayStation and my Switch right now, you'd strangle me. It's I downloaded BioShock and Hunt Down, which is a game I was showing you earlier, which is kind of a cool side-scrolling game, and Danganronpa and fucking Plague Tale, and it's just what am I doing? I need to pick something, and by downloading all these things, I scatter my brain everywhere, but I still got Balatro over here. I'm just very unfocused right now, so I'm hoping Rebirth will focus me up.
I've been there.
Yeah. So, but it's coming at a good time, because, until Stellar Blade. I mean, I'm going to jump back into Dave the Diver, but I have no other teases besides.
Well, I just have this feeling after, I feel after April, it is going to be just slim pickings for games that John and I are interested in, and it'll be a lot of, let's look, there'll be a lot of news because of this E3, not E3 and all that stuff, but as far as what am I playing in my free time is especially when I knock out Infinite Wealth, it'll be
I wonder if Hellblade is going to be I should do a month of Game Pass for that. I wonder if it will. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, is it coming to PlayStation?
Not initially, but eventually, probably
next year.
Yeah.
All right. And before we moved on, someone wrote in after our episode about a game that John should play. And speaking of backlogs, maybe you'll add this to yours.
Oh, is this the game that's a 7?
Yeah, a game that's a 7.
Okay.
We have one recommendation so far. So again, John doesn't like to play games below an 8, but if you have one that you could argue that he should play, I'm not saying he would play it, but I'm
more likely to play a game that somebody recommends me than me just stumbling upon it.
So we have our first one. Listen to the show, Mark. Says Lords of the Fallen.
Ooh.
Lords of the Fallen.
Not to be confused with Lord of the Fallen?
No. The newest, the last year's release.
Okay.
Again, it's just a forgotten game that came out and reviewed okay, but...
Did he have anything besides just...
No. If he has a... Mark, if you're listening, write in. Tell us why. What?
No, yeah, that's for sure. Mark is also the one who played Lies of P, correct?
No, Jesse.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's another one.
Because that's another one that...
And he also... and top of writing in a 7 out of 10 game, he gave us his 5 most anticipated games. And number 1, Silk Song. Number 2, Shadow of the Erd Tree. Number 3, Dragon Quest 3 remake. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Number 4, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, the Suikoden sequel that is coming out this month as well.
It's in your league. You got that picked.
And that's a day one Game Pass game, I found out. And Metaphor Refantasio, sharing my...
You said this was Mark?
Yep. Most anticipated game of this year.
That tracks for and what I know about his gaming preferences. I didn't realize he's more excited for Hollow Knight than the Elden Ring DLC, and that's good.
I don't know if these are... he said no particular order.
Oh.
So sorry.
Sorry, Mark.
But he used 1, 2, 3. So, yeah, again, just like Mark, if you write in,
we talk about you.
We'll read it for sure. We promise you. So, and I'll take criticisms all day.
Yeah, I liked your comment at the beginning of the show about how if you want to write in something extremely negative, and like I just like the idea of somebody writing in something that's not even game related, just like fuck this world.
Who has time to play video games when this world's so fucking fucked?
You see outside? There's an eclipse. The world's ending.
Yeah. So again, please write in, especially again if you're voting against John. I would love it. I would love to read some good listener email saying why John is wrong.
Why crashes? I'm not even going to go there.
All right, so that's going to lead us into our song of the show.
I'm singing today. No, I'm singing the Halo theme song.
Yep. Well, John just spoiled it. There it is, the Halo theme song. It's you booted up that game at a LAN party. You were on that main menu.
It's good stuff.
The song kicked off. You knew you were in for good times. Halo, changed the landscape of gaming.
I saw a really heartfelt video game advertisement over the weekend where it was like 3 dudes popping with an Xbox 360, a pizza and some 2 liters, put the Halo 3 in, played, had a good time, and then it pans away and the music gets all sad and it's just a guy sitting on his couch by himself and all of his friends are gone. Oh man, I do remember those days.
How modern society got.
Yeah,
unfortunately. Yeah, it was a time period, just having everyone over one guy's house, multiple TVs, and, just playing Halo together.
I remember, I don't know if you know this, but every OG Xbox had a console name, and they were names, right?
Right, yeah, you can name it.
And I remember my friend's dad renamed his Xbox because he was also a gamer. Xbox Stays Home. So we would take it to other friends for LAN parties and saw that, and we got a good laugh out of it. But I still remember his name. His Xbox's name was Wilshire. Don't know why.
Okay. Yeah. It was a time. Good memories. Good memories of drinking a whole 2 liter of Mountain Dew in one night.
Memories. I do that tonight. I'm doing everything.
Yeah, that and Doritos, bruh. So an Xbox Chum song to end it on. Halo, which came from Martin O'Donnell, Aaron Woodhouse. Just again one of the most iconic themes in gaming. And Halo changed the landscape of video games.
Sure did.
Big time. So enjoy the song.
It's the only reason Microsoft exists now. Well,
and
Xbox.
Finish your thought?
Nope.
You got it?
Nope. Just gonna go.
Okay. Nope. All right. So that's it. We'll be back next week with more Final Fantasy, Hi-Fi Rush, Star Wars Outlaws trailer. I'll be excited to talk about that and so much more. More video game character battle royales, and who knows what will happen a week from now. But again, thanks for listening. And we'll be back next week with Up to 6 Things. Bye, guys.
Bye.